Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to talk getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're going to take a look at Nighthaunt and the Scarlet Doom subfaction. In this video, we're going to go through, talk about what the Scarlet Doom subfaction is for Nighthaunt. We'll then take a look at how best to start off our Scarlet Doom subfaction Nighthaunt army, take a look at some other units we can grab after our initial purchases, and then finally finish off the video with a little sample 1000 point army list for you to use as some inspiration to get your own army off the ground. Now, let's talk about what we get with the Scarlet Doom. So, first of all, it's a Nighthaunt subfaction. We don't lose any of the Nighthaunt rules for taking this, so we get everything that comes from being standard Nighthaunt. This includes things like Aura of Dread, Ethereal, Discorporate, the Vanishing Phantasms, Frightful Touch, and Wave of Terror rules. Now, on top of all of these, we are going to get a cool rule for Ghast Revenants. Ghast Revenants are going to have the ability of, when they charge, they get to pick an enemy unit within 1 inch of them at the end of the charge. And you roll the dice for every number you rolled on your charge. So say you had a charge roll of 8, you would roll 8 dice. It is the unmodified roll as well, so no bonuses apply to this if you manage to get any somehow. And then for every 5+ you roll on those dice, you do a mortal wound after you charge, which is really, really cool. On top of that, Ghast Revenants do become Battleline in a Scarlet Doom army, which is pretty awesome. So we're going to get extra charge bonuses. This is one of my favourite subfactions because Nighthaunt already get a ton of different charge bonuses. Things like Wave of Terror benefit them on the charge. They've also got Retreat and Charge army-wide, so it's really easy to sort of just double down on this subfaction that's already doubling down on things Nighthaunt are already getting bonuses for. But where do we look to start? And so my first pick is the Guardian of Souls. I think it's a great hero for the army. First of all, a Guardian of Souls has some cool buffing ability for the rest of your force. You get to add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with friendly melee weapons from Nighthaunt units held within 12 inch. So keeping this near your Ghast Revenants is going to turn them on and give them a lot more damage output. It's going to allow them to wound on 2s, meaning, you know, with an all-out attack, you can get this unit down to 2s and 2s. It's got some other cool abilities as well. It's going to be able to do some healing, which is really nice. And it's also a wizard as well. So it's going to give you some access to some different magical spells, all of which Nighthaunt do have a very good spell lore to pick from. There's some really good standout spells in there, but I don't think there's any actually terrible spells in that spell lore. Now, next to that, obviously, we're going to talk about Ghast Revenants. These are a unit you're going to want to pick up for your Scarlet Doom army, of course. 4+ armor save and Ethereal is really nice. They've got 2 attacks based on 3s and 3s, remembering we've got the bonus to wound here near our Guardian of Souls, and they've got Rend 1, Damage 1. You're also going to get an extra attack if you manage to do any charges in the same turn. Which is really, really cool. So being able to get 3 attacks on the charge, your army retreats and charges army-wide. You do impact hits or mortal wounds when you charge. Everything is sort of meshing nicely together here. This is a really well put together subfaction that really is simple to play. It wants you to be charging at all times. Retreat and charge, you're getting so many different bonuses from charge. You're going to get +1 attack, you're going to get Wave of Terror, you're going to do mortal wounds on the charge, you're going to just be able to retreat out and do this every single time. Really solid stuff. Not to mention, you've got to remember Nighthaunt fly army-wide as well, so this is just even better. But looking at some other pieces we can bring in, there's a couple of pieces I think that sort of mesh well with the main sort of pieces we want to use in this army. Obviously, Ghast Revenants are always going to be the main thing, and so we want to think of some ways we can maybe get some more out of them. And I really do like the Knight of Shrouds in this particular subfaction. The Knight of Shrouds on foot has a really cool thing where once per battle round, you can use the Redeploy or Unleash Hell command trait on a friendly Nighthaunt summonable unit without a command point being spent. Now, obviously, we've got no shooting with Ghast Revenants, but the ability to redeploy and make the charges always work on your terms with an army that really likes to be charging, I don't think can be underestimated. Also, on top of that, in the combat phase, when you pick a unit to fight for the first time, you can pick a friendly Nighthaunt summonable unit within 12 inches of this model, and that is not yet fought. That unit and the Nighthaunt summonable unit can fire one after the other in any order of your choice. So this is pretty cool as well, meaning if he goes in, you're going to be able to add that Knight of Shrouds attacks, which he does have 5 attacks at 3s and 3s, Ren 1 damage 2, so he's, going to put in a little bit of work for you, which is nice, but it means he's going to get his attacks in along with the unit he's alongside. I really like these sort of command abilities, but for me, it's that redeploy that makes him really useful. He also has his Stolen Hours, where at the end of the combat phase, if any enemy models were slain by attacks made with this unit's Sword of Stolen Hours in that phase, you can heal 1 wound allocated to this unit and add 1 to the wounds characteristic of this unit. Pretty cool stuff there, like being able to buff himself, so him being able to go alongside his units is actually really cool. Now, looking at a different character we could potentially have a look at, I like the Ghast Cruciator, the brand new Nighthaunt unit that came out in Broken Realms. His ability is if this unit is within 12 inch of any terrified units, you subtract 1 from the damage inflicted by each successful attack that targets a friendly Nighthaunt unit whole within 12. This is just a great buff. We've got so many offensive buffs in the army, with all our charge sort of bonuses and stuff like that. I think having a nice defensive buff like this, on an army that does have ward saves army-wide and can make them 5-ups on particular units with command points, I think his command ability really does have some good value. He's also got 4 attacks at 3/3s, Ren 1 damage 2, so he doesn't pack out much less heat in combat than the Knight of Shrouds, but he does have a shooting attack at 12 inch range for 4s, 3/3s, Ren 2, damage 1 on top as well. He also has an extra wound on top of the Knight of Shrouds as well, starting on 6 wounds, but of course he can't increase it with his Sword of Stolen Hours. Now, looking at other units that I think sort of work alongside this particular subfaction well, Hexrays are an interesting one because they get to move over units and do mortal wounds as they sort of effectively walk over enemy units. They run through and, Headless Huntsman and all that. This, I think, just combines really well with the fact we're doing mortal wounds and recharges. Everything's trying to move, not stay in combat for too long. I think this really just sort of meshes well with the way we're trying to play with our Blade Ghost Revenants in this subfaction. Now, on top of that, another unit to look is a unit that maybe doesn't play, but does something different for us, and that is Chain Rust Horde. These are much, much cheaper than our Blade Ghost Revenants. Blade Ghost Revenants come in at 175 points, and Chain Rust come in at 110. What these can do that Blade Ghost can't is just be cannon fodder. They can either be screens, they can be objective holders, they can be objective snatchers, and just little throwaway units to give you more bodies on the board rather than an army full of Blade Ghost Revenants. Both things, I think, of value. You're going to get way more damage output out of the Revenants and way more utility, but these things definitely have their use. Chain Rust Horde being so dirt cheap compared to the Revenants, you're going to get more of them on the table, and it's just really going to be a useful way to get something different out of the units you have on the tabletop. And so here we have a little sample 1000 point army list for you for the Scarlet Doom procession of the Nighthaunt. So we've gone Mortal Realm of Shaiish, Scarlet Doom subfaction, Allegiance Nighthaunt, all of which you expect. Predator's Domain is the grand strategy I've gone here. For me, this is just a great grand strategy with Nighthaunt. The fact you have retreat in charge and so much maneuverability on this army, I think Predator's Domain, controlling more terrain than your opponent at the end of the game, is just such a great grand strategy for you. It's a really good one because you've got so much movement to take full advantage of it. Now, for our Triumph, I've actually gone with Bloodthirsty. This is because we've got the Guardian Souls in the army. It puts out a +1 to wound. I don't think we really need it all that much. And I think rerolling charges to make sure we can get those charges we need to be getting off to get them full use out of all our units in this army is much more important. Now, for our leaders, we've gone with a Cruel Ghast Cruciator, and then we've gone for our Guardian of Souls, who is going to be our General. The Guardian of Souls is going to have a command trait called Cloaked in Shadow, which is really nice and gives us some great protection for our General. Cloaked in Shadow allows this General to not be picked as a target of a shooting or combat attack by more than 1 unit per phase. This is great, just a great way to keep this model alive. We're then going to have the artifact, which is going to be Light Shard of the Harvest Moon. It's a once per battle artifact, but I really like it. At the start of the combat phase, you can say the bearer will release the Baleful Gloom inside the Light Shard, and if you do, you add 1 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly Nighthaunt units whole within 12 inches of the bearer until the end of that phase. So this means, you can potentially get a Blade Ghost Revenant if they've charged, if you've got the Light Shard out. You potentially could get 4 attacks per model on the unit. Potentially, if this model is near, there could be like 2s and 2s on 4s, which is really, really nice. We've then gone for the Lore of the Underworlds, and we've gone for Shade Mist. This subtracts 1 from wound rolls onto an enemy unit. We pick an enemy unit, we put this on them, and they are -1 to wound, which is Really, really nice. So we pick one of our friendly units, put it on our friendly units, and our friendly unit is -1 to wound. For our battle line, we've got 40 Blade Ghast Revenants, and that is pretty much the army. Like I said, you can swap in some Chain Rasps here if you really want to get some more bodies on the table. But we've got 2 units of 10 Blade Ghast Revenants and a unit of 20. Unit of 20 is probably going to be where we sit our 2 characters behind, and that's going to be our big blob. In this army, we've gone for a Battle Regiment, which means we're going to be a 1-drop sub-faction. And what's really cool about this, because we've got the Nighthaunt rules that Vanishing Phantasms, even though we're a 1-drop army, we're going to be able to control and dictate how deployment sort of goes, because we're able to take units off the tabletop. With that said, a full 1,000 points used, so we ain't ever getting that triumph if you choose this particular loadout. But like I said, there's a chance with using some Chain Rasps you may get a triumph instead. Then we've got reinforced units, 1 of them. You could definitely make this 4 units of 10 Blade Ghast, but I like the 1 big unit that's going to generally benefit from that Ghast Cruciator and the Guardian of Souls to make a really hard to shift and dangerous unit. And then we've got no allies, 51 wounds on the table, and 1 drop as mentioned. With that, let us know what you're keen on with the new Nighthaunt Battle Tome. I'd love to hear from everyone down in the comments below. And so that is the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and drop us a comment letting us know what you thought about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fine little community here at Sinful Gaming, you can come and join our Discord server, which is linked down in the video's description. Lastly, if you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so either by supporting us on Patreon or YouTube members, both of which are linked down in the video's description, or you can indeed go grab some merch on our Ko-fi store. We've got some cool Sinful Gaming dice, which you'll see used on the channel, down for sale in there. Lastly, as a special thanks to everyone who supports on Patreon and YouTube members, we'd like to give you all a shout out on every video we do that you support. So a thank you to our Patreons, Christian Weir, James Soren, Greenskins Gaming, AJC, Kenny Lowe, Alderan Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nielsen, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Dynet226, and Derek. And a shout out to our YouTube members, and a massive thank you as well to Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Chris Wallace, Ronya, Villy, Lockloric, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Sean Scott, and Pink Nico Fire. Lastly, a massive thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel, and to Xmorphic, who has done amazing work in setting up our Discord server and doing amazing work over there. Thank you all for watching once again. Stay safe, everyone, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.